Shalom Israel, giving honor and praise to the Most High God for the reading and the understanding of His word. And family, I truly hope that everyone had a wonderful day of atonement. I hope all of you were able to push through for those 24 hours. Now, for many of you, I'm sure it was probably difficult, and especially if it was your first time, but you made it through. You made it through. And such a wonderful day it was to go ahead and afflict your soul for the Most High, to tell Him thank you. Thank you for not killing us off. Serious. People don't realize how serious the Day of Atonement really is, where the Father's like, yo, listen, you're going to afflict your soul for one day, a full 24 hours. Absolutely beautiful, and I love it. And of course, family, you already know we cannot go without saying this. I want to wish every king, every queen, every prince, and every princess, I want to wish you a wonderful, magnificent Sabbath. And once again, thank you for bringing us in with your brother this week. Now, family, I seriously do not want to bore you with this lesson, or with not with the lesson, but with this little short story that led to this lesson. Now, this past weekend, last Sunday, I was at my niece's wedding in Atlanta. So I traveled to Atlanta, and of course, I got recognized at the wedding. So two young brothers, they could have been no more than probably 25 years old. They came up, recognized me or whatnot, and I was representing, I had the suit on with the fringes and everything, popping. So, of course, people noticed that. So the two young brothers, to make a long story short, one of them practiced Ephi, and if you don't know what that is voodoo, and the other one was with Esau at the wedding. Now, mind you, these are two young brothers, Judah. And of course, I addressed the both of their issues with scripture, both of them. And again, I don't want to talk about these young brothers because they were very nice two young brothers, just unfortunately lost. And that was the part that hurt the most. As I sat there and I watched them brothers, and I brought the scriptures out, and I showed them that they were royalty. I showed them in one ear and out the other. The one that was with Esau, and of course I went to Tobit chapter 4 and verse 12, and I showed him in the scriptures where it said we can't be with Esau. And do you know what he said? I'm going to be with her. But let me tell you what was so significant about the conversation between him and I. Because as I'm bringing the scriptures out, I asked him, he asked me, he said, what can we do to fix our situation as far as us being in these curses? And I said, keep the commandments. And I kept saying it over and over, keep the commandments. Even my brother had to get involved. My brother said, he told you, keep the commandments. Nah, she had it, yo. Nah, she's been holding it down for me since the beginning. And it was at that moment, I was like, wow. A lot of our people are toast. And I mean that literally. A lot of our people are going to burn. And it was so sad to see these two young kings that may potentially go to the fire. Because I can't say that they're going to. But if everything was to go down right now, they would be 2/3 bound. So that brings me to this, family. We are going to read Judges chapter 1 and chapter 2. And the reason why we are going to read this is because this says so much. I'm going to give y'all a history lesson. A history lesson that we all need. Or we're going to get it tonight. Because chapter 1 and 2, it goes to show you the disconnect. Like, what happened? And I'm going to show you that it correlates with today's culture and environment. And again, it's going to show you that nothing has changed. The very same things that was happening all the way back then are the very same things happening right now. So family, please open your Bibles to the 1611 King James Version Bible with the Apocrypha. And I please want you to go to Judges chapter 1. And this is such a wonderful, wonderful story and beautiful. It really is. Until we start to get to the end. I'm not going to lie to you. All right, let me go ahead and turn this up here so my old blind self can actually see this. Okay, here we go. Judges chapter 1, verse 1. Here we go. Now, after the death of Joshua, it came to pass that the children of Israel asked the Lord, saying, who shall go up for us against the Canaanites first to fight against them? Now, this was King Joshua. Now, Joshua died. Joshua died. So now the children of Israel are asking the Father, who's going to help us fight these Canaanites off? And I want y'all to really pay attention, because right now it's wartime. It's a fight. Oh, it's a fight. And I want y'all to see just how much the Father has us. Like I tell y'all all the time, the Father has us. He has us when we're doing right. And I want y'all to see just how much he truly, truly does. Like I said, it's going to be a wonderful history lesson. Verse 2, and the Lord said, Judah shall go up. Behold, I have delivered the land into his hand. So you see who the Father called first? The Father said Judah. That's right, the so-called Negro, the so-called African-American man and woman. But in this case, he's talking about the men. You see, you brothers have to understand what your responsibility is, even though we are so far removed from this time frame right now here in Judges. But the one thing that has not been removed is your power and your responsibility. Kings, princes, we have work to do in this nation. The Father put us up all the way back then and all the way right now, which is why Judah suffers the most. Verse 3, and Judah said unto Simeon his brother, come up with me into my lot, that we may fight against the Canaanites, and I likewise will go with thee into thy lot. So Simeon went with him. So Judah, he went to his brother, he went to Simeon, a brother who he trusts, a brother who he knows who can fight. So like, yo, come on. All right, yo, Simeon, come on, me and you on, let's go. Verse 4, and Judah went up, and listen to this, family. Please, please pay attention. I'm going to start over. And Judah went up, and the Lord delivered the Canaanites and the Perizzites into their hand, and they slew of them in Bezek 10,000 men. So do you realize what that just said? It said that the Father took the Canaanites and delivered them into the hands of Judah and Simeon so that they could be destroyed. That's how the Father has us. The Father said, I'm going to take your enemies, I'm going to bring them to you, just so that you can destroy these people. But what was happening in this time right now? What was happening? Our people were keeping the commandments. And when we do that, we're in power. When we sin and break the commandments, we are below. Okay, verse 6. But Adonibezek fled, and they pursued after him and caught him and cut off his thumbs and his great toes. And Adonibezek said, 70 kings, having their thumbs and their great toes cut off, gathered their meat under my table, as I have done. So God hath requited me. And they brought him to Jerusalem, and there he died. So this little dude tried to run. He tried to bounce. Judah and Simeon like, nope, 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 nope. Get him. And got him. Took him back to Jerusalem and died. Verse 8. Now the children of Judah had fought against Jerusalem and had taken it and smitten it with the edge of the sword and set the city on fire. Wait a minute now. The children of Judah had fought against Jerusalem. So we know there are other people in our land that did not belong there, and had taken it and smitten it with the edge of the sword and set the city on fire. Now, family, let me ask you a question. Let me ask my family a question right now. Who has the reputation of when we get mad and when we get pissed, we set cities on fire? So now y'all know who this is talking about. Now, as y'all see, these scriptures do not lie. Everybody knows who does that. Our people, Judah, we do that. We will set something on fire in a heartbeat. And it just goes to show you that the very same people all the way back then are the same people today. Let something pop off and see if we don't tear a city up, riot, and burn everything down. All right, verse 9. And afterward, the children of Judah went down to fight against the Canaanites that dwelt in the mountain and in the south and in the valley. And Judah went against the Canaanites that dwelt in Hebron. Now the name of Hebron was Kirjatharba. And they slew Sheshai and Ahiman and Talmai. And from thence he went against the inhabitants of the Bear, and the name of the Bear before was, I gotta get this one, hold on. Kirjath-Sepher, sorry. And Caleb said, he that smiteth Kirjath-Sepher and taketh it, to him will I give Achsah my daughter to wife. So he said, okay, hold on a second now, wait a minute. If y'all go ahead and destroy that, I'm going to give you my daughter. Whoever does it, I'm going to give my daughter unto you. Do y'all see how they were back then? I want y'all to really, really, especially you queens and you princesses, I want y'all to pay attention to your worth. Serious. Now, to hear that based on modern time right now, right? Y'all would think, oh, who this nigga think he is? He's gonna get me away, you know? That's how y'all been conditioned. Y'all have no idea your true worth, your value. You have no idea. Worth more than any diamond, worth more than any ruby. I seriously want you sisters to come back and to know your worth. Okay? Let's go. Verse 13. And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother, took it, and he gave him Achsah, his daughter, to wife. And it came to pass, when she came to him, that she moved him to ask of her father a field, and she lighted from off her ass. And Caleb said unto her, what wilt thou? And she said unto him, give me a blessing, for thou hast given me a south land. Give me also springs of water. And Caleb gave her the upper springs and the nether springs. Now, again, queens, princesses, do y'all see how y'all used to be? And what our brothers were willing to do? Not put a ring on my finger. They said, yo, you know what? Give me the land. Do you know why they were saying give me the land? Because it meant rulership. Rulership. Y'all already know some of y'all sisters get hype off of having a big house or a nice apartment. These sisters were like, yo, I want this land, I want that land, I want that land over there too. It just goes to show you the mindset, how destroyed our people are. Destroyed. I don't want no house. I want the land. Because that signifies my power. And any true queen understands that she can never rule without her king. Sisters need to wake up. Y'all need to wake up. Verse 16, and the children of the Kenite, Moses' father-in-law, went up out of the city of palm trees with the children of Judah into the wilderness of Judah, which lieth in the south of Arad, and they went and dwelt among the people. So here you have Moses, who's a Levite, and he's walking with the children of Judah. And those two brothers right there, those brothers, they go together. All of them. Into a land. Now watch what's getting ready to happen to that land. Watch this. I told y'all it's going to be a history lesson tonight. And Judah went with Simeon, his brother, and they slew the Canaanites that inhabited the path, and utterly destroyed it. And the name of the city was called Horma. Oh, I'm telling y'all. Also, Judah took Gaza with the coast thereof, and Ascalon with the coast thereof, and Ekron with the coast thereof. So Judah is going through there, whooping up on them, conquering, destroying, wearing them out. Verse 19, and the Lord was with Judah. I'm going to say it again. And the Lord was with Judah. And he drave out the inhabitants of the mountain, but could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley, because they had chariots of iron. So do you think that's a problem for the Most High? It says that the Father was with Judah. So anywhere that Judah went, the Father was right there. And the power was not in Judah. The power was that superpower called the Most High God. If we would only get our minds right, kings, you brothers of Judah, you so-called African Americans, you so-called Negroes, if we would only get our minds right, we would have the Lord right there with us too. And they gave Hebron unto Caleb, as Moses said, and he expelled thence the 3 sons of Anak. And the children of Benjamin did not drive out the Jebusites that inhabited Jerusalem, but the Jebusites dwell with the children of Benjamin in Jerusalem unto this day. I'm about to ask y'all a question. Does this scripture say that the Father was with Benjamin? No. That's why they weren't able to drive them out. As you saw, Judah is going through getting everybody out, slaying the lands. But when it came to Benjamin, though, it didn't happen. Why? Because the Lord was with Judah. All right. Verse 22, and the house of Joseph, they also went up against Bethel, and the Lord was with them. All right, that's the house of Joseph. All right, now verse 23, and the house of Joseph sent to describe Bethel. Now the name of that city before was Luz. And Luz, it translates to the term light. And the spies saw a man come forth out of the city, and they said unto him, shew us, we pray thee, the entrance into the city, and we will shew thy mercy. So now here these brothers are coming up, and they saw this one man, the spy, and he said, hey, show us the entrance to the city right here, and we'll take it easy on you. We'll take it easy on you. So let's see whether or not if our brothers are telling the truth as to whether or not they take it easy with this brother right here. Verse 25. And when he shewed them the entrance into the city, they smote the city with the edge of the sword, but they let go the man and all his family. So you see that our brothers are honorable, very honorable. They kept their word. They told a brother, hey, show us where it's at. And he let that brother and his family live. That's honorable. Our people are honorable. Okay? Verse 26. And the man went into the land of the Hittites and built a city and called the name thereof Luz, again, meaning light, which is the name thereof unto this day. Neither did Manasseh drive out the inhabitants of Bethshean and her towns, nor Tanakh and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Dor and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Iblim and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Megiddo and her towns, but the Canaanites would dwell in the land. Why? Now, as you realize, some of these say that the Lord was with them and some of them don't. Why is that? Because of sin. Sin. The Father still allowed them to go do things, but it wasn't as powerful. All right? Verse 28. And it came to pass when Israel was strong that they put the Canaanites to tribute and did not utterly drive them out. So now I want y'all to pay attention to this. Here's what's going on. So they wanted money. That's what tribute is. Tributary is money. So they're like, hey, you know what? No, we're not going to drive all of them out. We're not going to drive them all out, but we're going to collect money from them. Ooh. Do y'all understand what's happening right now? Family. Our people were taxing the other nations. Let that sink in for a second. We're the ones doing the taxing. That's the way it should be. That's how it's supposed to be. Not us getting our checks and having to give half the check to the government. Medicare, Medicaid, bills. The other nations were paying us. Oh, how far removed we are from our history, family. Oh, how far we have fallen. We've fallen so deep. This is why when we read Deuteronomy 7:6, Deuteronomy 14:2, this is why the Father said, I put you above all people upon the face of the earth. But so many of our people, just like them brothers that I was talking to out there at that wedding, they didn't get that. They didn't understand that. They did not understand that they are, not were, but are kings. Disgraced kings, but they're still kings. So many of you still haven't picked up on that yet. That you are royalty on this planet. And you see, that's the thing that we have to get our people to understand. We are royalty on this planet. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is our history. This is our culture. This is who we are. It doesn't matter whether or not if you believe it. This is who we are. This is what we are. And this is forever who we will be. All right? Verse 29. Neither did Ephraim drive out the Canaanites that dwelt in Gezer, but the Canaanites dwelt in Gezer among them. Neither did Zebulun drive out the inhabitants of Kitron, nor the inhabitants of Nahalal, but the Canaanites dwelt among them and became tributaries. So what does that mean? They were taxpayers. They were giving them money. Neither did Asher drive out the inhabitants of Akko, nor the inhabitants of Zidon, nor of Alab, nor of Akzib, nor of Helba, nor of Aphik, nor of Rahab. Now I want to stop for a second. Do y'all really notice and see here all the land that we had? All of these different areas. So today, if we were to do this today, right, it would be like, okay, you know what? King Tony, the Father went ahead and gave you New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. King Kamarion, the father went ahead and gave you Orlando, wherever you wanted in Mississippi, and Columbia, South Carolina. That's how it was. And guess what? This world is big enough for all Israelites to have their own. Because remember, the world was made for our sakes. This big planet. Do you know that there's places on this planet that no human foot has touched? Let that register for a minute. That's how big this place is. And the whole thing, the sun, the moon, the stars, everything was made for us. All right. Verse 32. But the Asherites dwelt among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land, for they did not drive them out. Neither did Naphtali drive out the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh, nor the inhabitants of Beth Thanath, but he dwelt among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land. Nevertheless, the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh and of Beth Nahath became tributaries unto them. So all these people, it doesn't matter what land they were in, they were on the land of the Israelites, which is all over. And they were paying them out. When you hear that, let me be very, very serious with y'all here for a second. When you hear that, how does that make you feel? I'm serious. I really want to know. I want y'all to go ahead and put it in the chat. How does it make you feel to know that at one point in time on this planet that we were the ones that were being paid? Doesn't rulership feel so awesome? I know you can't feel it right now because we're not in rulership, but the very simple and basic idea of it, how does that really make you feel? I'm telling you, this is such a wonderful thing. This is such a wonderful thing. All right, let's continue. Verse 34. And the Amorites forced the children of Dan into the mountain, for they would not suffer them to come down to the valley. But the Amorites would dwell in Mount Ares of Aijalon and of Shalbim. Yet the hand of the house of Joseph prevailed, so that they became tributaries. So they was like, hold on. So you got one that was trying to get buck. Like, yo, hold on a second. Yo, they trying to get buck with Dan. Like, yo, we ain't paying y'all nothing. We ain't paying y'all nothing. Then what happened? Joseph came right in. Bow! Busting them up. And made them pay tributary. Made them pay them taxes. Made them pay them that money. And the coast of the Amorites was from the going up to Akrabim, from the rock and upward. Okay, now that's chapter 1 right there, right? So now you're going to see the stark difference in chapter 2. You see, because here in chapter 1, it shows you how Israel was in power. It gave you the description of life under the hand, under the shadow of the Most High, when we kept the commandments, when we did what the Father told us to do. But then there's going to come a time right here in chapter 2 where all of that is going to change. Are y'all ready? Watch this. Judges chapter 2. And an angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal of Boshim and said, I made you go up out of Egypt and have brought you unto the land which I swear unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you. Wait a minute now. So now you have the Father who's speaking through one of his angels that's talking to the children of Israel. And like, yo, first of all, I brought you up out of here. I brought you up out of here. So what happened back in Egypt? Why did they get sent to Egypt in the first place? Because of sin, remember? So y'all already know it's about to be on and popping right now. Verse 2, and ye shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land. I'm going to read that again. And ye shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land. Ye shall throw down their altars, but ye have not obeyed my voice. Why have ye done this? So here now, we get back in power. In chapter 1, we in power. We feeling ourselves now. So now that we start feeling ourselves, we start dealing with the other nations now. We start dealing with them and start doing the things that they do. This is why the Father said you can't make any league with them. You know what it means to not make a league with them? Don't union with them. We are separate. We are a holy people. We are separate from everybody else on the planet. And the Father said, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Do you understand that? This is what Christianity don't bring out to you. The Father said, why did you deal with them other nations? Now, this just goes right back to the story that I was telling you earlier about the one brother and Esau. Why did you do that? Why are you practicing voodoo? Why are you doing their things? Why are you celebrating your birthday? Why are you celebrating holidays? Why are you buying Christmas presents? Why are you celebrating Halloween? Why are you going out to shop on the Sabbath when I told you not to? Why are you cooking on a Sabbath? Why are you doing these things? Why are you doing these things? I told you don't. I told you don't. Verse 3. Wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your sides, and their gods shall be a snare unto you. So now the Father like, okay, I'm going to make sure that they are thorns in your side. I'm going to make them a problem for you. I'm going to make it uncomfortable for you. Now, what happened there in chapter 1? What happened in chapter 1, family? What happened in chapter 1? The Father was whooping up the other nations. Was he or was he not? He was whooping up on them other nations. He was right there. He said, I'm with you. But now that they're starting to sin, the Father said, now it's going to be a problem for y'all now. All right. Verse 4. Watch this. And it came to pass when the angel of the Lord spake these words unto all the children of Israel, not the whole world, the children of Israel, that the people lifted up their voices and wept. Oh, they knew they messed up. You remember when you were little and you knew that you was doing something wrong, and if your parents found out that they was going to wear you out? Oh, yeah. And remember when they finally started to wear you out, you know, when they get the belt or whatever it was. See, I got beat with a stick. Oh, yeah. One of them old 1980s wooden oak sticks. The one, like I said, you could drop it off the Empire State Building and not one splinter, one of those. And I used to get torn up with one of those. And you know when the parent, they get it and they lift up your arm and whop, 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 whop. Oh, yeah, baby. And that's getting ready to happen right now to the children of Israel. And verse 5, and they called the name of that place Bochim, and they sacrificed there unto the Lord. Now, you see, this is before Christ came. Remember, you had to atone for your sins. Right? You was either killing doves or goats or lambs or whatever the case was. And that's where that sacrifice was done at. And when Joshua had let the people go, the children of Israel went every man unto his own inheritance to possess the land. And that is going to happen again. And the people served the Lord all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, who had seen all the great works of the Lord that he did for Israel. So the Father, he made it known. You already know the Father, he is very, very dramatic. The Father loves to put on a show. The Father loves to show out. And he does it through his children. He does this so that the other nations can see, yo, those people are over there. They are special. Don't mess with them. Leave them alone. Don't deal with them. Their God, as you read here, that the God of the gods of the other nations are their own, but there's only one God of Israel, only one. And everybody understood this all throughout history. Everybody understood this, but today they went ahead and just made everything so convoluted, and they polluted our book with nonsense. You understand that? Everybody knows. Esau knows. Moab, Ammon, Ham, they all know that God is not their God, and they know that this Bible is real. They know it all the way down. It's our people that choose not to accept the truth. Okay? Verse 8, and Joshua, the son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died being 110 years old. So he held on, did he or did he not? Oh, that brother held on. I also want you to notice this here too. Do you know how long like Adam and all of them were living back during that time? 900, 800, 700 years. And here it is, 110 years. Going to show you just how much the Father was not playing when he said he was going to reduce our years on this earth. All right, verse 9. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance with, hold on, sorry, these names. Y'all can't say it either, so don't be making fun of me. Timnatheres, in the Mount of Ephraim on the north side of the hill Gash. And also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers, and there arose another generation after them, which knew not the Lord, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. Stop. All right, family. Now, y'all know we got to talk about that. Y'all know we must have that conversation. Is that not just like today? What happened to our ancestors? We talked about this last week. We are so far removed from the stories that were told, our history, our truth. These generations today don't know. They have no idea. The very same way how I didn't know. But we know now. And it is so important that we teach our children, we teach our family, friends, and neighbors who we are. It is our responsibility. And this here goes to Judah. This is our responsibility, family. This is our responsibility. And I'm speaking to Judah. I'm speaking to King, Queen, Prince, and Princess. It is our responsibility to get this out to the other nations so that they know who they are. I'm telling y'all, we're going to be held accountable for this. We are the top tribe. It is up to us to do it. No excuses. All right? Verse 10. And also all that, wait, did I just read that? Yeah, I just read that. Verse 11, I'm sorry. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and served Baalim. You see, that generation was not taught. So now they sitting there and they doing evil in the eyes of the Most High. Just like today. I told y'all, nothing has changed. And they forsook the Lord God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods, and of the gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Lord to anger. Just like today. Nothing has changed. Our people constantly keep the rotation of sin and serving the other gods, the gods of the nations, money, sex, drugs, all those things. Everything that you could possibly think of that is outside of the commandments. And they continue to do it. Especially that religion of me. Ooh, I'm telling you, goodness, on Judgment Day, that is going to be where the fire burns the hottest. The religion of me. I'm going to do me. I'm going to do what I want to do. And as it said right here, and provoked the Lord to anger. Y'all don't want none of the Lord, I'm telling you right now. And they forsook the Lord and served Baal and Ashtaroth. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. So, again, we got to stop just for a second. Just a little history. And I'm going to read this one more time. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. So y'all already know the saying that we say, like, yo, that nigga was heated. Yo, that nigga was heated. And I'm not calling God a nigga. I'm talking about when we talk amongst ourselves. I would never call the Most High a nigga. But y'all know when we say that, but yo, dude, that nigga was heated. Right here. This comes from our own book. That's how you know this is us. We've always talked like this. We think these are brand new terms. They're not. And he delivered them into the hands of spoilers that spoiled them, and he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about, so that they could not any longer stand before their enemies. Now, one chapter back, Israel was whooping up on all the nations, whooping up on all of them and making them pay tributaries. But here it is, one generation later, that does not know the Most High. They were not taught the commandments. And what happened? The Father said, I'm going to sell y'all into the hands of your enemies. Now, this is not talking about now. This is talking about back then. Everything has always been the same. This is our history. This is what happened every time we went against the Most High. I want y'all to understand that. I want to make sure that you get it. I want to make sure that you understand that this book is saying the same thing over and over and over again. Our people, we get away from the Most High, and he sells us into the hands of our enemies, and he puts them on top and put us on the bottom. Verse 15, whithersoever they went out, the hand of the Lord was against them for evil, as the Lord had said, and as the Lord had sworn unto them, that they were greatly distressed. The Father had to swear himself. Like, I'm telling y'all, on everything I love, I'm telling y'all, I'm going to put y'all into the hands of your enemies, and I'm going to make them whoop up on you, and you are going to be paying them tributaries, and they're going to spoil you. Do you understand that term spoil? It means to rot, lose life, to decay. Y'all understand that? The term spoil, it means to decay, to die. Goodness gracious. Okay, verse 16. Nevertheless, the Lord raised up judges which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them, and yet they would not hearken unto their judges. You understand that? Even here, the Father give another chance. Hey, I'm going to raise up these judges or whatnot. And y'all niggas still don't listen. And yet they would not hearken unto their judges, but they went a-whoring. They went a-whoring after other gods and bowed themselves unto them. They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of the Lord, but they did not so. I want to get right back to that term, a-whoring. Now, where else can you find that? Where else can you find that term, a-whoring? You find it in Numbers chapter 15, verse 38. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and get it. We'll come back to this. Where we leave off here, let me see. We left off at verse 17. Okay, Judges 2:17. I want you to go now to Numbers chapter 15 and verse 38. Now I'm going to show you why this is so important. And verse 15. Chapter 15, verse 38. Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations. Now, that's exactly what we've been talking about in Judges chapter 2. In the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it, and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you used to go a-whoring. You see, this is why the Father said we have to wear fringes. That is the purpose of fringes. We wear fringes so that we can remember to keep the commandments. That is why. That is a commandment, and all throughout your generations, mean all the way back then, all the way till now. If you are not in fringes, I'm going to repeat this again. If you are not in fringes, you are in sin. And I tell you time and time again, you better get in your fringes, because if you don't, there is a penalty, and that penalty is death. You see, there's so many other people out there that will say, oh, you don't have to wear your fringes. All that is done away with. Well, first, Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, Christ said, I did not come to do away with any laws. I didn't come to get rid of the law. I came here to, first and foremost, to fulfill all the prophecies that were said about me. And now I'm coming to show y'all how to keep these commandments. Because that's what the Bible actually says. All right, let's go back. Judges chapter 2 and verse 17. I'm telling y'all, keep playing. Now we're going to go to verse 18. And when the Lord raised them up judges, then the Lord was with the judge and delivered them out of the hand of their enemies all the days of the judge. For it repented the Lord because of their groanings, by reason of them that oppressed them and vexed them. Verse 19, and it came to pass when the judge was dead that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers. Do you understand that? The father said, all right, you know what? Y'all still acting. I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna give y'all a chance. I'm gonna raise up these judges, not kings. I'm gonna raise up these judges. Some of these people that we're gonna put in power. We're gonna put these people in power. And what's gonna happen with this here is that I'm going to be directing them, and I'm gonna give y'all just a little leniency because I love y'all. Y'all are my children. I love y'all. But once the judges died, Israel went right ahead and went right back to them nations, right back to doing the things that they wanted to do with them. Absolutely disgraceful and disgusting. Verse 19, and it came to pass when the judge was dead that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers in following other gods to serve them and to bow down unto them. They ceased not from their own doings, nor from their stubborn way. You stiff-necked, rebellious people. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. And he said, because that this people have transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice, because y'all kept breaking my commandments, and because you are not listening to what I'm saying. The voice of the Most High is his Bible. The voice of the Most High comes right here in the volume of the book with these commandments. Verse 21, I also will not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nations which Joshua left when he died. You see, when Joshua left, he left the world in a good place. He left it in a wonderful place. And do you know why Joshua did that? Because he loved his people. Do you know what Joshua used to do? Joshua used to go around and make sure, just like Nehemiah, he had an anger with his people when he saw anybody that was breaking the commandments, just like how our brothers did when, in the time of Moses, the brother that was picking up sticks to cook on the Sabbath, to build a fire. What they do, they hemmed him up and took him to Moses. And Moses went to the father and said, Father, what should we do? What did the father say? Kill him. Take him out. Send him home. I'm telling y'all, there's not enough kings out here bringing out this word. I love and respect all of you brothers that are and all of you sisters that are. But it's not enough. I'm serious. Okay? Verse 22, that through them I may prove Israel, whether they will keep the way of the Lord to walk therein as their fathers did keep it, or not. Therefore, the Lord left those nations without driving them out hastily, neither delivered he them into the hand of Joshua. Y'all see that? The Father said, I'm not dealing with y'all. I'm going to let them other nations tear y'all apart. I'm going to let them disgrace you. I'm going to allow this to happen. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to laugh as they do it. All these police shootings, all of our brothers and sisters getting put out because they don't have money to pay rent. Here we are back in this time with land. With land. We don't think about no rent. We had land and money on top of it that was coming from the other nations. We had our own economic system. Do y'all really understand that? This is rulership. Everything that Esau is doing now, we did to them. Everything that Moab is doing right now, we did to them. They were buying our products. Our sisters weren't going in their stores and buying weave and all these beauty supply products and all that. They were coming to us for that. I want to look like the women of Israel. I want to look like the kings of Israel. I want to buy your silk robes. I want to buy your silk shirts. I want to buy your fringes. I want to look like you, because remember what the Father said. The Father said he created us and we are the apple of his eye. We look like him. And all these other nations were saying, and they still do it today, I want to look like you. Do you understand that? Do you understand when these women go out to these surgeons to get big lips and bigger breasts, bigger hips, bigger booties to look like our sisters? Do you realize how these other men of the other nations go out and get implants? I'm going to keep it PG-13. They get implants. They get implants. They go tan to look like you. They're injecting melanin to look like you. They're doing all these things. All these things to look like the children of Israel, but here we are bowing down to them, and our sisters putting blonde and straightening their hair and doing all that stupidity. When we are the picture of beauty. Us. But yet, as you see, all the way back then, just like today, we follow after their gods. We want to live in their so-called mansions. Those aren't mansions. Those are big houses that have absolutely no security bearing whatsoever. And when I say security bearing, meaning any strong wind can come through there and knock that damn place down. Do you realize that there are still castles all the way back then that were built all the way back then that's still standing today? That has taken the worst of the storms, the worst of the winds, the worst of the tsunamis. They are still in effect because those houses were built under the direction of the Most High. And they're still there. No tornado, no whirlwind, nothing was able to touch it because it was built properly. The very same way that how the Father had Noah build the ark, nothing was able to destroy it. Not a damn thing. And now we're paying for home repairs. Israel, how far we have fallen. How far we have fallen, family. And I want to make this mention about this here too, about these judges. Do you know that that curse is still in effect today? Didn't the Father say that there shall be no woman that should usurp authority over a man? How many women judges have banged their gavel on one of our brothers and set them to life in prison or made them pay some astronomical amount in child support because some emotional sister, and I'm talking black women now, or even a Hispanic or a Native American woman, sat right up in that judge's chamber and decided the fate of one of our brothers. Let that sink in for a second. That is so backwards. That's never supposed to happen. Never. That was never the intention. That right there should make you feel sick to your stomach. Do you know that these white judges out here, well, these so-called white, the red people, they're banging their gavels and deciding the fate of the men of Israel, Black, Hispanic, and Native American. They're deciding the fate of our sisters, Black, Hispanic, and Native American. And it was never supposed to be like that. They were under our rulership. And we let it all go. But now we have to continue to teach out of love our people so that we can get it all back. Oh, it's coming back. Whether you be there or not, it's coming back. And if that doesn't motivate you, then there's something wrong with you. There's seriously something wrong with you if you read this story here in Judges and that doesn't excite you. If that doesn't make you want to change your ways. If that doesn't make you want to keep the commandments, to even get in this book and understand it and read more and more and more so that you can go out and teach and teach and teach so that we can get our kingdom back in order and get the attention of the Most High so that he can send Christ and the angels to come destroy this dirty, filthy place and put us back where we belong, but in a new Jerusalem. A brand new one. You see, the time depends on us, how we respond to keeping the commandments. I'm going to ask you straight up, family. Do y'all want that? Do you want it? I know I do. That's why I do what I do. Every Friday night. I haven't had a weekend off yet. Not even when I was in YouTube jail, I didn't take a weekend off. So now I go to BitChute. Go to Instagram. We still got it. Nothing stops. The only way I'll stop is when the Most High takes the breath out of my body and says, son, no more. That's when. But until then, guess what? We are going to keep these commandments. We are going to win. And we are going to celebrate in victory. Israel, I'm so glad we can go ahead and bring this out. I'm so glad we was able to go ahead and learn our history. I really, really, truly, truly hope that you learned something. I truly, truly do. I hope that you read this here and you were so proud. I really hope that it motivated you to get out there and keep the Father's commandments and to reach one, teach one. Teach your children. Change your ways. Put on your fringes. That time is falling very, very short. Very, very short. Because that clock is ticking to Judgment Day. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Then all of a sudden, bow! That sky's going to crack and it's going to be too late. But I tell you this, don't let it be too late for you. And with that being said, Israel, I love you. I'm out.